I have a calendar app called calendar.com.
His name is John Rampton.
Calendar.com CEO John Rampton.
John Rampton is not only the founder of Calendar.com, he is a serial entrepreneur that has helped people bring amazing products and services to scale.
We all want money, right?
A round of applause for John Rampton.
My name, as you all know, is John Rampton.
Serial entrepreneur John Rampton suffers a terrible accident and may never walk again.
Leg is cracked in half. You're being told by these rock star surgeons you're never walking again.
I was just kind of hopeless. I had 14 doctors in a row tell me I'd never walk again.
Doctors are saying it'd be a miracle if John Rampton ever walks again.
I remember feeling so powerless. So I just went on the internet in hopes and dreams, and I found these two doctors. They took stem cells from a lamb and put them in me. I did 4 different treatments.
That's perseverance, man. And if you didn't have that perseverance, you wouldn't be walking.
I wouldn't be able to walk.
No. John Rampton very graciously decided to sit with us. He is involved in many different ventures, it sounds like.
Correct.
You want to tell us a few of the things you're doing?
I have a calendar app called calendar.com. We do calendaring for lots of different scheduling, invoice, that type of stuff.
You said you have a tie-in with so many different companies too, that you're helping to promote other people in my industry as well as many other industries.
Yeah, I mean, we have a site called do.com, DUE.com, where we talk about, money advice, tips, retirement, that type of stuff. Publication on that.
So are you interviewing advisors? Who are you interviewing? Economists?
We don't. We just talk about different tips and tricks out there and put it out there. And we're blog articles, stuff like that.
Blog articles, okay.
So we have about 200 different writers out there that write regular content for our publications.
Give me an example of one of the last blogs that was really interesting.
Last blogs that was interesting, we talked about average age of retirement in every single state, average net worth you needed to actually retire, and average money you needed to retire in every single state. So we wrote about that. And
which state was the most expensive to?
Probably New York or California, one of those. Although there are some states that are random out there that are just surprisingly expensive given what people make in the state.
Right.
So you really, if we're talking retirement, you really have to think about where you retire, how much money you have, and where you need to retire.
Yeah.
And think about that probably 10 years prior to retirement, because you don't want to retire. You don't want to just move somewhere and have no friends and have to pick up.
That's true too.
You want to plan out your retirement and move somewhere before.
My advice to some of my clients that are in retirement or approaching retirement, don't buy a house in Tampa. Rent for a year. Try maybe 2 cities for the first 2 years of retirement, because it's exactly that. I know people coming back to New York. Cost of living is better in the Carolinas and Tennessee and wherever they're going to wind up. But when you have 0 friends and this
life is miserable.
It's a nice house, nice backyard, but yeah, it's miserable.
Yeah, it's miserable. You want to be where your friends are, so you should really think about that.
Salt Lake City, you guys?
Salt Lake City.
You're from there?
Based out of Salt Lake City, Utah. I've been there for about 5 years. Before that, I was in the Bay Area, in Palo Alto for 10 years. And then prior to that, Utah before that. So did my stint.
Any thoughts about what's going to happen at this event? Were you enamored with anybody here? Any certain biohack that really caught your eye?
You know what? One of the coolest things at this conference that I really, really liked was... up on stage, a lot of people are talking biohacks and optimizing this and optimizing that, but the majority of them are talking about like 90-10. 90% is the basics. It's getting good sleep, eating healthy, and exercise. That's 90% of your health.
I agree.
And all this biohacking out there really boils down to 10%, and you're trying to hack that 1% or 2%, and there's all these little things that we can do to optimize. But really, when it boils down to it, if you want to be healthy in this world, 90% of it is getting up, eating healthy, working out, and going and getting really good sleep.
And that person who does all of that and none of the biohacking is definitely better off than the average Joe that does a lot of biohacking, but
for sure
is out partying every day.
But out partying, or excessive drinking of alcohol, or not drinking enough water, or eating crap. I'll talk a little bit about my health journey if we want to talk.
Sure.
One of the best pieces of advice that I got when talking about health and stuff was stop eating at 7 o'clock at night.
Absolutely.
And the person who told me this is like, you can keep eating everything else you want in life, but stop eating at 7. Because what happens is you sit down and you eat 100 calories of potato chips. Now, we're eating more than that, let's be honest. But 100 calories is 1 pound a month. That's 12 pounds a year. That's 50 pounds after 5 years. 50 pounds for just not eating crap after 7 o'clock. So stop eating at 7 o'clock and you'll be a lot healthier.
Are you an advocate for intermittent fasting too? Or is this just 7 o'clock, you're still having normal breakfast?
Whatever works for you. I think intermittent fasting, which I do on and off. I do intermittent fasting very religiously Monday through Friday. Usually the weekend I'm kind of off. I got kids. I take care of my kids. We have that random breakfast on Saturday.
I do the same thing.
Sunday morning, right? Life gets in the way. You can't really.
And you know what? Quite frankly, I want to have a nice over easy toast.
Yeah.
I want to have a nice breakfast once. I do it probably once a week.
I think some people just optimize their lives a little bit more full than I would like to. But if it works for you, do what works for you. But if you can cut out after 7 o'clock food, I think your life will get better and better from a healthier standpoint.
All right, so this is what I'm thinking. You're in that shape, that bad of shape. Leg is cracked in half. You're being told by these rock star surgeons you're never walking again. You're sitting in bed. So you're on a laptop or on a desktop? Laptop. And you're just saying, F this. I'm going to find somebody out there that could try something.
Pretty much.
How many days or weeks passed before you had that mentality? You were home?
2.5 months.
2.5 months. So that 2.5 months was like dead end, and finally...
Doctor after doctor. My foot and my leg were not connected. It was literally flopping there, and bone spurs out and stuff like that. They operated on me. I put basically a rod in my leg, but I got told by all these doctors I'd never walk again. Ever. And then I was just kind of hopeless. I had 14 doctors in a row tell me I'd never walk again. And so I just went on the internet in hopes and dreams. And I found these 2 doctors, random doctors, and contacted them like, hey, I'm young, I'll do anything. I think like I'm a better patient than most people that you work with because I'm young. This particular thing, you guys are working on tib, fib, all that. You guys are trying to regrow this type of stuff. And what can you do for me? I emailed them 3 times.
Why 2 separate countries, 2 separate doctors?
I was reaching out to everybody.
And they both agreed to do the same treatment, like partner? They were never partners
They basically weren't partners, and they basically agreed to work on it together. They took stem cells from a lamb and put them in me. I did 4 different treatments. They came, and the whole thing, I'm sure it's filmed somewhere online somewhere, but the first time it was done in front of an audience. Like I had people there watching. Then the next time it was more people, like an
operating room, or
operating room. But they had like
one of those teaching ones where they're able to view.
Yeah,
wow,
one of those teaching ones, and every time got more and more people.
What hospital are we talking? San Fran or Salt Lake?
Salt Lake, University of Utah.
Incredible. And that's 20 years ago. Did you come across a friend or a colleague or a family member or anybody that needed this type of treatment where you advised them, hey, call these guys from Finland?
I haven't. They only work on tib and fib specific, and they're basically, I think what they were trying to do is trying to have very specific patients work on that specific region so that they could prove out their model and have very success cases.
They kind of needed you.
They needed
to further their science.
They needed me to further their science.
Right. It's not every day you find somebody with that injury.
With that injury and that age bracket. Most people who have that are more in their 40s, 50s, 60s, who work at construction sites or things where they're run over in that specific way.
Wow. That's perseverance, man.
It sucked.
And if you didn't have that perseverance, you wouldn't be walking.
I wouldn't be able to walk.
No. Because there's no physical therapy that was going to do it. You needed science and physical therapy.
Yeah, I needed science. And physical therapy I did for 6 months after I literally had to walk. So I didn't actually walk for a little over a year, or maybe a little under a year.
Wow.
And then I had to, my leg was like legitimately so atrophied, and I couldn't, like the movement, it wasn't necessarily working. So I remember getting in a pool. It's like one of those kiddie pools that like gets shallower and shallower, and I'd start at the deep end. And I would just walk for like 2 to 4 hours at a time from side to side, and I did that every single day for like 6 months until I came all the way out of the water.
Wow.
Because your body is a little more buoyant, so you don't put like any weight on it, and it just like slowly, I was able to get the movement down, and
You don't give up.
you can't. Like,
You can't. I don't accept things like that. I still don't accept what we're going through.
I still don't accept what I'm going through right now. Like, you know,
Yeah.
life is hard, man. Life, like,
And if it's your kid, you go even further.
oh my word. Yeah. I'm just like heartbroken about your story.
Yeah. But we're not stopping. I literally met 3 or 4 people today that gave me suggestions. One is a doctor right across the way here that I got connected with him like 3 or 4 years ago, Dr. Crawford. The advances that he's made in the last 3 years since I spoke to him is night and day.
Oh, just night and day. This
Night and
industry
day.
is changing. What did not work
Right.
6 months ago is so far advanced right now. It's like,
He's got a lot of different therapies, but a lot of the proprietary lasers that he uses is helping kids go from many seizures a day to some are going down to 0. You know how profound that is for somebody that lives with a child with seizures? To go to 0 is like a miracle. To go down to 1 is like, wow.
is
2
a miracle
is a
by
miracle.
itself. Anybody who goes through that, I mean, parents who have that are, I remember the first grand mal seizure that one of my cousins had, and feeling so powerless as I'm holding my cousin Chad, and I'm like holding him, and I couldn't overpower him like at all. There was nothing I could do.
He's just trying to make sure he doesn't hurt himself.
Trying to make sure he doesn't hurt himself, but I thought I could overpower that. Nope.
I think the advances in science, what's happening with AI is amplifying everything in this room. And everything in this room, as good as it is going to be even better in 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years.
In 6 months.
6 months. Agreed. Great conversation. The Double Podcast.
Yeah, seriously. Thanks, guys.
If you like stories like this, please like, follow, and subscribe on all of our social media platforms.